M was the slope, which we wrote as rise over 1, and B was the y-intercept. Then we talked about point slope form, which was y minus y1 equaled mx minus x1. M was still the slope, and x1, y1 was the known point. Right? We've talked about those two. We should be pretty cool with them. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Right? Now, there's a third one, which actually kind of splits into two, but you'll see what I mean in a second. General form. Now, you guys have already seen general form. Right? This form, slope and a y-intercept. This form, slope and any point. General form, it looks like this. ax plus by plus c equals 0. And that form is really good for x and y intercepts. Now you will notice that there is something that's the same in all three of them. What is it? X and y. X and y lives in all three of them. So if I ever have a coordinate point, 3, 7, can I use that in any of those forms? Why? Because I've got an x and a y. And in all three of them, slope-intercept form, point-slope form, general form, yes, sir? General form? Yes, sir? Major idiot? Borrowing from Spaceballs. If you haven't seen Spaceballs, never mind Amshiman. If you haven't seen Spaceballs, you should. Invite Amshiman over. It will help.
I've seen Space Jam. Michael Jordan.
It will help his mental stability.
Okay, first of all, we do not speak of Space Jam.
Why not?
Because it's a piece of garbage.
You dare defy Michael Jordan's acting skills?
And yeah, it's right up there with Shaq and Kazam.
Tell Mr. Hirschman that.
Yeah, he'll probably get really mad.
He loves Space Jam.
That's because Mr. Hirschman is 12, like you guys. So he loves Space Jam. Okay? Nothing against him. We're very good friends, but he's 12. Anyways, Spaceballs has the joke about bumholes, major bumhole. But they say it properly. And then the leader says, how many bumholes have we got on this ship? And then everybody gets up and says, here, sir, because they're all never. See the movie. But don't see the movie, because then I'll get in trouble. Don't see Spaceballs if you haven't seen Spaceballs. All right, so general form. Yes, sir. You can put the stuff back and forth between them. Now, what do you notice is not in general form that is in the other two? Blake. Slope. You cannot use general form to find slope at all. Okay? Everybody with me? You guys are going to make, at least once, you're going to make the error, and I'm going to give you something in general form like this, 3x plus 4y plus 7 equals 0, and ask you the slope, and at least one of you is going to tell me the slope is 3, because you're going to see 3 with x. No, you're not stupid. But one of you is going to make that error. Please do not. Okay? This doesn't tell us slope. And this has a bunch of weird rules, right? Like all generals have weird rules to follow. The rules are as follows. A must be positive and a natural number. What's a natural number? Who remembers back that many units? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, up to what? Infinity. It cannot be a fraction. It cannot be 0. Well, technically it could be 0. So let's change that to it must be a whole number. It cannot be a decimal or a fraction. B must be a whole number. No, I'm sorry. B must be an integer. B is allowed to be negative, but it still can have decimals or fractions. Okay? And C must be an integer. Is everybody cool? Okay. So, here you have been given a general form equation. 3x minus 2y plus 8 equals 0. And I say graph it. And you say Mwah! And I say, but it's in general form. And it's ordering you to graph it. And you say, fine. And you do it. And a great many of you, if you were in the 9th grade, would probably make a table of values. But you don't need to, because of what we talked about up here. Due to the fact that they both share x's and y's and constants even, you can take this and put it into this form. And then you can graph it without a table of values. How do we do it? Well, we look at this and we see what we have to do algebraically to this to make it look like this. What is it that I must do to general form to turn it into slope-intercept form? Have a look. You just got to isolate y. That's it. How do we learn to isolate y? You learned that in grade 7 when you first learned algebra. So let's make it happen. What is it with you and the spilling?
No, there's no spilling. I was just cleaning so that I don't have to clean it.
Okay.
Yeah, just in case there was anything there.
Get y by itself. What is there a definitive first step that every single one of us should take? Blake. So you want to take away 8. Would everybody take away 8?
Yeah.
Leighton says he wouldn't. Why, Leighton? What would you do? So Leighton wants to move the y right away. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. Is what Blake wanted to do okay? Yeah. Sure. Is there a definitive way to solve this problem? No.
You can move everything except the y.
You could move everything but the y.
And the y would be isolated to the other side.
That would be helpful. The point I am trying to make is I do not care, nor will anyone else, the way you go about doing this. At your guys' level, I should be able to say isolate y and walk away, shouldn't I? Right? So everybody go. Isolate y. Your method. Do what you see fit. That's what I did. If I had followed Blake, I could have taken away 8 from both sides. 3x minus 2y equals negative 8. Then I would have taken away 3x from both sides. Negative 2y equals negative 3x minus 8. Then I would have divided everything by negative 2, and I would have gotten the same thing. Right? The only reason I didn't complete writing that is because the computer froze. Oh, now it's unfrozen. So minus 3x, negative 2y equals negative 3x minus 8. Divide everything by negative 2. Y equals 3 over 2x plus 4. Oh my good gravy, we have the same thing. Does it matter how you do it? Do you have to write it out uppy-downy with subtraction? Or can you just slide it over like I was doing? Do you think I care? No. Who decides how you're going to approach a math problem? You do. Okay? Then graph it. How are you going to graph that bad boy? Where are you going to go? Positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what? which would be up 3 and right 2, or down 3 and left 2. Sweep. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? So now we have a third version of things we could do. Now, remember how I said that general form has kind of an offshoot? It's got an ugly cousin. That's this.
Kernel form?
I wish. He's standard form. And standard form is the same as general form, except it's ax plus by equals c. But all the other rules follow. I don't know why there's 2 of them. I've never bothered to research it. I've just accepted that it's one of those things that's stupid in math that you have to put up with.
Oh, random fun math fact. An Indian created the number 0.
Yes,
You told
I
us that
have said that about 1,000 times in this classroom.
Well, there you go.
So basically he created nothing?
No.
Getting.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Wow, sick.
I liked it.
What is that?
He created nothing, so be quiet.
Oh, roasted that dude.
Roasted that to that 1,800-year-old Indian mathematician. Showed him who was boss. Dumbass. That wasn't racist. He was actually an Indian mathematician.
Yeah, he was.
But he didn't live 1,800 years ago. I think it was around 500 or 600.
Oh my goodness! Did you know that Picasso, like Pablo Picasso, the artist, died in like 1973
Yes.
or
You
something?
You didn't know that?
Yes.
No, I thought he died in like the 1500s or something.
I'll admit, I was on the same boat as well.
He fought in World War I.
I didn't know this. I thought it was like some sort of like
No.
ancient painter, like
No.
Leonardo da Vinci
No,
or something.
he's not.
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Do you know when Andy Warhol lived?
No.
Uh, no, he wasn't.
Who's Andy Warhol? Andy Warhol?
It was Shakespeare.
Warhol. Shakespeare didn't exist.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, the Holocaust.
You were there?
Well, no.
Shakespeare's
Not really.
racist.
And
If
I've
a
done
tree falls in a
No, Shakespeare is not racist.
I was kidding.
Shakespeare, you weren't there.
Apparently there's...
Well, no, but then I guess you can't prove that anyone else ever has existed.
No, there is quite a school of thought that William Shakespeare was not the person he existed, the actor William Shakespeare existed, but there is quite a school of thought that he was not indeed the author of all his plays.
Really?
Yes, because
But he wasn't the author of some of because.
Well, yeah, some of them he like ideas,
Like
but
Romeo and Juliet wasn't his.
no, I know, but you can't do that. No story is original anymore. The Matrix is just the Bible. Yes.
Supernatural.
There's a new world order. Along comes a savior named the One.
You can call him allegory though.
It's
not,
of course,
It's not like 1-to-1.
It is so. Oh my God! He goes to the city.
Did Moses go split the Red Sea and dodge bullets when he got it? No.
Oh, he dodged arrows and spears.
Mr. Mars, have you watched The Best of Me?
No.
It's a Nicholas Sparks movie.
No, stop right there. You lost me at Nicholas Sparks.
I have no idea who that is.
All right. So, again, is there an X and a Y? So we can graph it. Slope-intercept form, get Y by itself. Easy peasy, yes? Just algebra. Remember, please, that math has an infinite amount of names to cover about 5 different skills, right? If you can do basic algebra, you can do the entirety of this year, skill-wise, can't you? Right? Everybody cool? All right, now, let's look at the next one. I have specified, I have cruelly done the thing that I hate it when math teachers do, but I am doing it for a reason. I am asking you to graph exclusively by using just the intercepts. And I'm doing this because the x and y intercepts become very important later on in higher level math. And you need to be good at dealing with intercepts. And a great many of you still have issues with which is which. The x-intercept is x0. The y-intercept is 0y, which means this has an x and a y, and this has an x and a y, and this has an x and a y, and it has an x and a y, which means you can substitute these values in here. Now, I am doing this to you with such a simple one because it always works. The problem that a great many of you have with math is you do a simple one and you do it in your head and you don't even think about it, and then I change the numbers or I give you decimals and fractions, and all of a sudden, I can't do it, because you refuse to actually pay attention on the easy ones. Okay? It's similar to any sport or any skill you will ever learn. If you're a figure skater, you do not do a triple axel on your first jump. You shoot the duck for 5 years. And you think that skating sucks. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're doing a triple axel. Or, like in Karate Kid, the good one, not the stupid Kung Fu Kid one with stupid Jaden Smith in it. The actual Karate Kid, where he makes him paint the fence and wax the car, and it seems stupid until all of a sudden Mr. Miyagi punches him so fast he's going to break his nose, and all of a sudden paint the fence saves the day. That, by the way, is a real block. Huh?
There was an episode of Zoe 101 like that where this guy showed up and taught this guy how to do shit.
Yes. That's awesome. All right? So again, I stress to you, just because you can do this in your head, because a great many of you have already solved this without writing it down while I've been talking about wax on, wax off, and paint the fence. You've already solved it because you can do it in your head that easily. But the mistake you make is you don't write down the easy ones because you feel they are too easy to bother writing down. So, y is 0. So what happens to that number? 5x plus 0 equals 10. 5x equals 10. X equals 2. Then, go to the other one. 2y equals 10. Y equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you connect them. I know it's simple. I know all of you could do that in your head without writing it down at all. But please remember, math doesn't always work in perfect numbers like that. The point of this is to tell you that every x, every y will work. All right? Write down an example of the equation of a line in each form. Interesting. So we need to write an equation of a line in each form. Well, let's get a line first. How do I get a line? I need some points, don't I? Well, let's make some points. X, Y. Let's go with 3, 7. Let's go with 5. Let's go with
9. 11.
Guys are around 11. That'll do. And that is enough, isn't it? Okay. So I have some points. They are going to graph a line. Actually, let's just, make sure. There. Now we know it's a line. I want that line in each form. How do I do that? Well, what are my 3 forms? There's y equals mx plus b. There's y minus y1 equals m x minus x1, and there's ax plus by plus c equals 0. One of those three we can do right now with the information that we have. Which one? You know the slope right now?
Oh, never mind, I lied.
Okay.
Third one. 'Cause it's
Third one, because it's only x, y, and c, right? How would we do general form with the information that we have?
pretty general knowledge.
What do I have there? I have x's and y's, don't I? Okay. So you substitute. So what would it be? A times what? 3 plus b times what? Plus c equals 0. Hey, wait a minute. It doesn't work, does it? So even though you have coefficient and variable, it's not ax, is it? So I can't even do general form. So I'll ask again. Is there one of those we can do right now? No, there isn't. Is there one that we can get to with some of our previous knowledge? Lauren, now say it. Say it now.
Which one I said two?
Both of them.
The first and the second.
The first and the second one, because we have enough information to do what? Find some stuff.
Find the math.
Find the math.
Do math.
What can we do with that much information?
Find
Learn.
We can find the slope. What's the slope?
let's see. Up 4 over 2.
So what's the slope? Slope equals 2. Does it?
I think so.
She did that in her head. 11 minus 7 is 4. 5 minus 3 is 2. 4 over 2 is 2. Yeah? So now can we do the first one?
Yeah, we can. We have everything.
How? What would you do?
Well, you put 3 in for x, and you put 2 in for m, and then you put y as well, which is 7.
Plus what? B. What's 2 times 3? What do I do with that 6?
Subtract it.
So now I know 1 equals B. Can I do the first one? Once I have the first one, y equals 2x plus 1, can I do all the rest of them? Okay. How would I do point slope form?
Substitute y1, 7,
Minus 7 equals,
m's 2, and then x minus 3.
3. How many different versions of that can I write out right now?
When did we find the slope?
Sarah found it in her head. 11 minus 7 is 4. 5 minus 3 is 2. But just to remind you, 11 minus 7 over 5 minus 3 equals 4 over 2, which equals m, which equals 2. Now, how many versions of this can I write right now? 3. Because it's also y minus 11 equals 2x minus 5, and it's y minus 15 equals 2x minus 7. How can that be, Mr. Myers?
How could that be, Mr. Myers?
Because once you distribute that out and do all the algebra and simplify, what are you going to end up with?
0 to 0.
You're going to equal that. Okay? So now, once I have that, that automatically allows me to find point slope form. Any one of those 3 would work. And can I get that into general form? How? We've just done it twice.
Well, now,
Well, this is general form. How does this differ from that?
Oh yeah, we could do that.
The y isn't isolated, and everything equals 0. So what would I move there to make this be that?
Move the Y.
Move the y. 0 equals 2x plus y minus y plus.
I said +1. I didn't say minus.
Oh, okay. Everybody good? Everybody good? All right. Now we come to the only part of this that's actually difficult. But it actually isn't. I have that in point slope form, yes? I'm asking for it in general form, yes? General form is ax plus by plus c equals 0. What differs from what I have to what I need? What don't I like in there if I want to get to there? I don't like what? I don't like the fraction because I'm not allowed fractions in general form. What else don't I like?
It's not simplified enough.
Okay.
How isn't it?
How isn't it simplified enough?
You have to
Right. You don't want those brackets. Now, a great many of you, once again, are going to follow the steps that you have been taught without thinking about what is being done. If you need to get rid of those brackets, how many of you are planning to distribute? Be honest. How many of you are planning to distribute?
Makes fractions.
That makes more fractions. Fractions make us pee our pants. So let's actually think about what we can do to make this easier on ourselves.
multiply
Get rid
the
of
whole
the
thing
thing
by
by
2 and then divide it by
Multiply the whole thing by 2.
3.
Like
Do the opposite
No, no,
instead of
like-
timesing
like
it in,
times and then
divide it
divide by
out.
3.
You would multiply both sides by 3.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because once I multiply that by 3, what happens to those?
Cancel.
They're gone. And here's where you're going to make a mistake. Some of you are going to forget to multiply this side by 3. And some of you are going to think that those brackets disappear. Do they? No. So I get 2x plus 2. And over here I get 3y minus 12. Please put a star there because that is where you're going to make an error when you are converting these things. I have marked countless papers. One of those two things happens.
Don't you have to multiply in the brackets or no?
I do have to multiply that 2 into those brackets now. I'm going just step by step.
Not with 3 though?
I did. 3y minus 3 times 4 is 12.
X plus 2 she asked.
Oh, no, no, no. No, I do not. I see what you're asking me now. This is technically 2x plus 2 divided by 3. Right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So then when I multiply that by 3, the 3's will cancel and I'll get 2x plus 2. There it is. Okay? Sorry, Lauren, I didn't understand what you were asking. That's on me. But we're good now, yeah? Now what do I got to do with that?
Times it, so it's 2x plus 4.
And then what do I got to do to get it into general form?
Put 0 on one side.
Move everything to one side, but keep what?
0 plus 4. B. I don't know.
Everything's got to be on one side, but there is one last rule from general form. If you need to look back a page, look back a page.
Positive.
If you need to look back a page, look back a page. If you need to look back a page, look back a page. So A has to be positive. A is the number that is with x. Is A positive right now? So should we touch the x value? No. So everything else has to move. 2x. What happens to that 3 when it comes over? Minus 3y. What happens to that negative 12 when it comes over? There was already 4 there, so what is this? And now it's done. Is everybody with me? Now, one of the things that kids don't believe is they don't understand how this and this can be the same thing. It boggles their mind. But what do you notice is in both of them? X's and Y's, correct? So let's find out, shall we? We know what point is on that line, 100%, just from looking at the equation. What point is on the line? Negative 2, negative 4. We know that negative 2 and 4 are on that line from point slope form, don't we? Right? What's that? That's an x. What's that? That's a y. Come to here. What's 2 times negative 2? Minus 3 times 4 plus 16. What's 2 times negative 2? Negative 4. What's negative 3 times 4? Negative 12. Plus 16 equals 0. What's negative 4 minus 12? Negative 16 plus 16 equals 0. What's negative 16 plus 16? 0 equals 0. See how it works? Doesn't matter what form it's in, it's the same line. Okay? Now, if I chose to care about why we have general form, point slope form, blah, 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 I would probably find, if I were to do some research, that point slope form and slope intercept form were derived from general form, would be my guess. Even though now we go the other way around. We often start with point slope form or slope intercept form and change it back to general form. Everybody cool? All right, so you guys do the last one. I want it in all 4 forms. You already have it in one form, so it's real easy. Well, standard form and general form. Point slope form, slope intercept form, standard form, general form. You've already got point slope, so then I want general, standard, and slope intercept.
Standard and general is just
Almost the same, except C is on one side or the other. Why am I leaving this blank and not saying anything right now? Because it doesn't matter where you start. You can start anywhere you want. I know where I like to start, but I don't want to force my agenda for converting linear functions onto you. I want you to discover your own agenda. So you choose where you're going to start. But you will notice something when I do mine, in whatever order I choose to do it. If you have done it right, we'll have the same 3 equations, won't we? Go. No pressure. At all. Just go. What?
What's wrong?
I have a sore back. We talked about this. Shoveling snow. Couldn't walk for days.
Sorry that I was trying to show concern.
I was sitting on the couch so it didn't hurt. Now I have to sit in this chair and now it hurts. What I really should do is teach the whole class walking around. What I need is one of those, like, from the stadium to get drinks.
Oh, one of those little platform
With the
things.
strap, and then I could put this on there and I could just walk around and talk, because walking doesn't hurt as much if I keep walking. Sitting is what hurts.
Mrs. Barnes standing does.
Yeah?
I don't understand.
Oh, maybe that's what I should do. I should build myself a little podium.
She does it too. She like puts her arm on it.
English and English.
Where do you have the
Oh.
there's science?
You know, I woke up this morning at 7:15.
Yeah.
I normally wake up at 5:45. I know. I leave home at 7:15. Still got here. My daughter takes the bus. My son and homestay kid had to walk in the pouring rain, but what are you going to do? The homestay kid was sitting in the living room playing on his phone. I walk out. I am ready to go. Yeah. Did you notice any of the rest of us up? I woke up. I was like, the heat's on. The heat doesn't turn on until 6. Weird. Oh well. Went back to sleep. Then I woke up again. It's like, it's hot in here. Look over at the clock. My clock, yesterday morning, because I haven't used the alarm clock all of Christmas break, because who would? Yesterday it went off, and it was on a radio station, and for whatever reason it was super loud. It scared me so much I jumped out of bed. So last night when I went to bed, I turned down the volume. To turn down the volume, I had to play with the clock, which made me think, of course, that I'd set my alarm. But I hadn't. I just turned down the volume. I still made it. It's okay. But there was bad traffic today, too, which was weird. All right. Ready? Go.
Please start.
Well, I don't know. What I did, I got like 2, and I got this, right? Got 2 y plus 6, and then I turned that into this form by putting everything on the But yeah, like when I changed those,
Done.
Oh, it's almost like he does this professionally. 2y.
Yeah, almost.
Oh, I screwed up. One half times negative 1 is positive 1/2. So that is really y equals negative 1/2 x minus 2 1/2.
It's not 3.
No, because it's 1. It's 1/2 minus 3.
Y equals negative 1.
Y is equal to half x plus b.
Why is x
Negative
half
half
x?
Right?
Okay.
So if
Okay.
3 is equal to negative half,
Y plus 3 equals negative 1/2 x minus 1. Yes?
Yeah.
Distribute. Y plus 3 equals negative 1/2 x. What's negative 1/2 times negative 1?
you know what? I probably just forgot them.
Well, I times both sides by 2.
I just
that work?
had a.
If you were going that way, if you wanted to do that, yes. Again, remember, order doesn't matter, right? I screwed up because I did this first distribution wrong because I did it in my head without writing it out. This is minus plus 1/2. Yes, the way I did it? Okay. Now, I got to bring that 3 over, right?
Which way are you trying to get to?
I'm going to slope intercept first.
Okay.
So now I got to bring that 3 over, right? So now I got y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1/2 minus 3, which is y equals negative 1/2 x minus 2 1/2. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I went this way because this is the most difficult way to do this question. Okay, I did this on purpose. Okay, to show you that it would work in whatever way you did. Now from there, to convert to general form, 1/2 x plus y plus 5 over 2. equals 0, right? Because that's 5 halves. 2.5. Now I would multiply everything by 2 to get x plus 2y plus 5 equals 0. I had 4 before because I screwed up when I did that. And then this becomes x plus 2y equals negative 5. I screwed up there. Now,
What's the x plus 2? Oh, it's 7.
I did this way because it was the stupidest way I could think to do it. Right? Because I had to deal with distributing a fraction. And when you do that in your head, you mess it up. Now, if you did what Sarah did and went to one of these first, it would have been easier. Picking up what I'm putting down?
Could you do it the other way from that to that way? Because I got to that one right, but then to the next one I messed up, and I'm not sure when.
So if you want to go to general form here, you need to get rid of that fraction, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to multiply both sides by what?
2.
You should multiply by negative 2 because you want to get rid of that negative as well. Okay, so negative 2y minus 6 equals, now this is totally gone, right?
Yeah.
I took care of the negative and I took care of the 2, so it's x minus 1. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, x is positive, so we're happy. Bring the y over, x plus 2y. Bring the 6 over, and it becomes what?
Wait, where are we at? Bring the 6 over it, yeah.
Bring the 6 over, it becomes positive 6. Negative 1 plus 6 is
5.
5.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay? Now, remember, please, you choose the method. But if you rush and you refuse to show work, you're going to do something like what I did there, and you're going to mess it all up. Now, let's say you did exactly what I did, and you did all that work, and you were left with 4 instead of 5. Because that's what I had, yes? What do you think I give you as a mark there? No, in the old days, I would give you 0.
0.34.
I would certainly give you some credit because this is about moving between the forms, isn't it? It's not about algebra. If it was on the 1, 2, 3, 4 scale and you had all 4 of them, I'd probably give you 3.
Really?
Yeah.
What about that for?
Maybe a 2. To get a 4, this is one of those things that makes math teachers angry. How could you get a 4 here? How could you exceed expectations in changing these to the other forms? Is it possible?
Not really.
Yes.
How, Rose? How could you as a student exceed my expectations when my expectations are to write them in the 3 forms? How could you find a new form? Yeah, but if you get to there, and where is it? There. Is there any way to show the 3 forms better than showing the 3 forms? No. And this is the problem with that 1, 2, 3, 4 scale that is coming down the pipe. People think, as always, that we need to have one method of doing everything, which is, of course, stupid. Math, theoretical math, there's theoretics, there's theories. In regular math, like you guys are doing, the answer's right or wrong, isn't it? Right?
When is that memory test actually? That's next.
You guys, I can't remember when you guys are writing it. I think you're going to write it this year. In June. June.
Math exam would be during exam week.
What day?
No.
We don't know yet.
What?
Is it like your
Yes, of course you can.
Is it multiple choice?
All right? Everybody with me?
Yeah.
This is one of those situations where I don't know how the people that have decided we want to shift to that 1, 2, 3, 4 scale, they haven't told me how to mark it because I can't figure out a way to mark it. I don't know how I would mark this on the 1, 2, 3, 4 scale. I just don't.
Like a 4 is 100%, but then a 3 you're down to 75.
Well, again, it's not.
7-point scale. Is it a 7-point scale like that too? Like it's like not 3 out of 4, but it's a 3 out of 4.
It's I don't dig it.
I wish that we would just get percentages.
I don't. Well, but there's arguments with that too. How do you know? You know, you know 60% of what you need to know about functions,
Your comprehension is
right? Like,
or you gotta fat test.
yeah, there's a problem. There's problems with both.
yeah, but I would just rather get a percent. In the future, they'll just scan your brain to see if you know it or not.
Okay. All right. So I'm done. That's it, and that's the whole unit. So today, you guys are going to finish off today working on page 237. Now, listen for a second, please. Did we ever do page 227? Can you flip back to that? Did we ever do it?
Isn't the one where it's like ask yourself, what do you know?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. Not 227. No, we didn't.
It wasn't this
No, I'm looking for it.
Oh, I don't know.
Wait, what are you trying?
I really don't. Wait, it's on the side of